Hello and welcome everyone to the Charity Charge Nonprofit Spotlight Series. My name is Matt, and I am joined today by the founder and CEO of Generation1.ca, Arundati Dandapani. Arundati, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Thank you. Nice to be here. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Yes, I'm so glad that we were able to connect and looking forward to chatting with you. I am very excited to, speak with you about your organization's mission and its focus. But before that, I'd really love to, talk about you and your journey into the nonprofit sector and, what kind of started you on this path that you're on and led you to the work that you're doing today.
Thank you for that. So, it's funny. You don't know whether you arrive at some place by coincidence or by a combination of different very conspired incidents. So, I think I've always been passionate about stories and storytelling, and wrote my first short story or published my first short story when I was 8 years old. It was about a free mango, and that really led me to realize that I was a very creative and very interested in the human condition and understanding how people were, and what improved their well-being, what declined, what decreased it, and how that impacted society overall. So very much over the years, I leaned into my a social impact side, was very drawn to people that were doing, and people and organizations that were doing great work, eliminating poverty, creating education, but specifically around education and literacy, because I used to, education really is a superpower, and literacy is a superpower. And we're seeing this even now. It doesn't matter where you are. People are talking about AI and technology and tools. Who is who is most empowered? The one that is able to understand how technology works and how what its relationships with human beings are like. But all that aside, I really followed the work of a lot of brilliant people, and I felt that what was core to their journey was what was this sense of empathy and the sense of compassion. And I feel like it's one of those qualities that are contagious, and when you meet people who really exude that passion for the well-being of others and for the well-being of society, you in yourself somehow. So you learn to become look out for society, and there's a lot of sayings about that, and
Hmm.
about good apples and bad apples. I don't even remember, but there's many such incidents where I felt that the act of providing education, especially. So I did a stint at the Clark County Jail in the U.S. in Ohio. I wrote a novel when I was 16. It was about a student who was or a 12-year-old boy who was traveling on a plane to some unknown. Actually, he was traveling to Sydney, but his plane got diverted to somewhere on an island, and he had to coexist with people he didn't know, and other adults, and annoying adults, and also some adults he respected. So anyway, so that that story led me to win a scholarship to study in Ohio, and I'd never imagined that I would go to Ohio, or I'd see more of the states in my adulthood. And so I ended up spending my most formative years there, because they say, all psychologists also say, that when you're 18, that's when your beliefs set in stone, and I see proof of that almost every day. Uh, you know, the types of the lessons I learned then have really served me a lot, and informed a lot of my outlook and I sort of enjoyed learning about the American culture, and about how people free enterprise, intellectual freedom, things like that. So I taught at a jail at Clark County when I was there, and saw women criminals of all, women inmates. And remember the word criminals, please. Women inmates of all categories of crime, and not convicted, under trials. But it was a very, very eye opening and an inspiring experience to be able to share your gift of storytelling with people who were constrained by, of course, a jail in the US is a lot different from a jail else, and maybe. And I talk about comparison and reasons, because later on I went on to also help, or do some workshops, writing workshops, with women and children in South Asia's largest prison, which is the Har Jail in Delhi. So I could see the comparisons later, but the idea was not social work. Like social work, yes, of course, you do social work, you try to do social work, you try to create social impact, but it's always debatable. And as you get into the nonprofit world, you do understand things like mission, things like agenda, things like politics. All of this shapes your perspective. You have strong opinions about something, and you want a better world, and your vision for a better world is either at odds with, or is in harmony with others. And it's not always black or white, but still it's this navigating a gray spaces, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone to understand what in your view is acceptable. It helped me understand or see crime differently, or see the person behind the crime differently, perhaps. I mean, I had my role there was just to share stories and to tell them how to share stories, to use storytelling as a powerful tool to defend themselves if needed, but just as a tool that anyone should use as an educated individual. And just that experience in both regions was exhausting in a way, but it was very revealing. I'm sure it helped me more than it helped them in some ways, but I did learn a lot about, I guess, empathy, and about teaching storytelling, if nothing, and about sharing what I learned with others. And I did get to hear a lot of different perspectives that helped me that helped me reframe a lot of my own stories. But that experience was formative, and I'd say, um, uh, yeah, of course, you don't idealize prisons, you don't idealize places like that, but you do learn what it is like to function under constraints. And I think that those kinds of situations influence this idea that society should be more should be healthy, should be looking out for each other. We shouldn't be killing animals or killing. I mean, I do eat meat, but what I mean is, be violent and things like. And you read a lot about violence and terrorism and everything everywhere. Especially before COVID, and there was some violence even after COVID in the cities. I think probably if you're in New York or in Toronto, you'd probably be reading about those, or you'd be seeing that. But it's just seeing how society has both prospered but also declined in some ways. It has always been, a puzzle, and it's like, okay, where are you most welcome? Where can you create the most impact? And I felt that the social impact was an immediate pull, it was an immediate draw. And I think it's just to do with the art of being a storyteller. As a storyteller, you want to know the ground zero, and then you also want to know what's the highest. So you want to know the lowest point and the highest point. And I feel like that capacity helped me well in the nonprofit world, and that came only because I was a storyteller. I was able to imagine, I was able to empathize, and I was learning how to empathize and learning how to imagine through the art and work of storytelling. And as I moved to Canada, I got involved in the data analytics and insights world. I mean, data is everywhere. Of course, you read and hear about it a lot. But I was in data journalism, using commercial writing for real estate, and then also for media, for news media. But here it was very different. When you move countries, it's a very different experience. Everything that I learned about society was re-questioned. It's what happens anytime you move somewhere. Even if you move a neighborhood, it changes you in some way, however small. But here I'd moved countries, and here moved continents, and it was good to understand that the data insights industry here needed more creative and more analytical and people with more storytelling skills, people who could um, discern the noise, who could discern the signals from the noise, and people who could actually be human centric, but even in a commercial context. And I think there's increasingly a push for that. You're seeing a lot of literature around it in recent years, all these influences, a lot of movements, and all of that definitely influenced my work. And I was very involved in the association landscape, in the industry association landscape here. And it is said that immigrants who move are more likely to donate most more of their time volunteering, and it's for many reasons. And one of them is for integration, but one of them is also the sense of purpose and the sense of giving back, and feeling thankful for all you've achieved. And I'm not going to generalize, but but there is data on people, on people who move, giving back to the causes that they were passionate about. And I felt that increasingly in Canada, and we're seeing all the unemployment stats, so underemployment stats every day, and inflation, and and moved long ago. But you see that seeing the genuine struggles of people, and seeing them not finding the professional networks they had, really wanted me to create something, an association. After seeing the different associations that I led, for our industry, I wanted to really launch an association that could provide professional support. Doesn't matter where they came from, but just for these people who just suddenly finding themselves moved here, and then they don't know what to do next, or they do know what to do next, but they're feeling a lot of barriers are not so just a platform to connect with other employers, other organizations, and develop their professional skills in a new context, because
Mhm.
they were probably doing something else some elsewhere. But it's just that, how do you make that the newcomer journey shorter, or help them better, make the adaptation easier, smoother,
Yeah.
seamless.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to zoom out for a second. I think, well, first of all, your organization sounds fantastic. But prior to that, from your time in Ohio, what a unique experience to kind of garner your storytelling abilities and really just view a prison in a completely different way. Because you did say we don't idealize prisons, but you seem to have found some serious silver linings from that experience, from, gaining insights from individuals from all walks of life, seeing that, society has deteriorated in some ways and has grown in other ways. And the fact that it instilled and inspired you to, dedicate your professional career to assisting individuals. It's very inspiring to hear that, and I think it's a unique background. And so I really wanted to thank you for sharing that part of your background. And as far as your organization today, Generation1.ca, what is its mission, and how has that mission changed since you founded and began it?
Yeah. So in 2016, when it was just an idea, and I was still fundraising on platforms like GoFundMe, entering every contest that was there, and even won a contest by an organization called SMR, which is a nonprofit for data analytics and insights. They liked my pitch, and so from that was 2016, and then now it's 2025. It's grown a lot, and in between we had a big pandemic, and the pandemic was when we saw a period of a lot of exponential growth. But what is our organization? It is championing North American newcomer stories in a world reshaped by opportunity. So we're a social enterprise professional community association that's empowering immigrants with the professional connections, skills, career pathways, job fairs, and collaborative networks that they need to succeed. And we're doing this with a lot of data analytics and insights innovation, because as a data leader by heart, I'm always making sure, or wanting to make sure, that every service and every experience we provide is guided and backed by data, and that we are doing our best to create a lot of wins here. And we're also placing you as any organization, any individual out there, at the forefront of transformative impact, by if you're involved as an ally, as a corporate partner, as an industry supporter. So it's two types of members. One is the immigrants that have moved, and then the others are the organizations that support these immigrants that have moved through us. So they come and exhibit at our career fairs and case competitions, or they come at our conference. Only yesterday, well, not yesterday, but feels like yesterday. Last Thursday, we had our summer event. Usually, we have summer events as well that are in person, and it was an event called Fueling Immigrant Futures: Data Insights Democracy, and it was to showcase all the research about how economically and socially significant this group is, and not just economically and socially, but also culturally, and why brands and institutions should take more note to protect, to nurture, and to grow this group. And this is a non-partisan initiative. I mean, this is a bipartisan initiative, or this is a multi-partisan initiative. The reason why this issue is important is because all the ethnic and cultural diversity that is there in North America today is because of immigrants. It doesn't matter at what stage when it started, but all the diversity that is there in North America today is because of immigrants, and immigrants have driven the literacy rates of Canada to the highest in the G7 countries. And we also know that they've brought a lot of education, a lot of skills, a lot of investment, and a lot of different perspectives, even if they didn't move here through pathways like entrepreneurship, or or through a lottery system, or through business, or through work. We have a lot of diverse refugees as well, and we have a lot of diverse other temporary and permanent migrants. So everyone who moves here is kind of an ideal immigrant or could be an ideal immigrant, and we want to make it welcoming for people to be able to integrate better and find the success they need so that they're more so that their journey is easier, it's more seamless, and they're able to support the economy in ways that they are meant to, that they planned to, hoped to, and wanted to. And not everyone moves by choice, and even in those circumstances we still want, I mean, even those especially in those circumstances, we want to make sure that all the supports are available, whether through us or our networks, to be able to enable their professional settlement. And our specialization is around the professional community aspect, because there's a lot of different great organizations focus on other aspects, whether it's real estate, money, other things, and we're happy to recommend to other services. And we already, since we're in the same community, as in the same professional community, we do know who to, what organizations exist and can refer. But it has been inspiring to see that the settlement service industry itself moved from absolutely nothing in the past decade to, a multi-million dollar industry. Not saying we're millionaires, but like we've been seeing a lot of growth in need for our services, and we don't charge anything to our newcomer members. We rely entirely, Generation1.ca relies entirely on industry and organizational sponsorships. So that's
Wonderful.
been our model, and that's helped us so far. And means, and again, this means being able to constantly, again, I've always had to leverage a lot of storytelling skills of using our data to really be able to influence society or help convince society and members of society that this is an important cause, and this is going to help them, and this is a positive cause, and being overlooked and being underserved is not exactly fruitful for society, and it should be, we're doing our best, so let's join forces and do better. So that's been my pitch always. And it changes. We go through waves where there's less low immigration, high immigration, but that doesn't matter. There are already immigrants here, and there's enough diversity in Canada and US to prove that this group is important, and it will be. And we do want to make it a place where future generations can also benefit from a global borderless sort of society. We want strong institutions, strong societies, and societies that are safe and diverse and culturally inclusive.
Wonderful. That's an excellent response. Thank you for sharing that. It really does sound fantastic. And congratulations on the growth that you've experienced. One thing that our subscribers ask us about when it comes to running an organization that has a mission, there's also the back office administration, and the two can sometimes intersect, and one might slow down the other at times, but they're both very much necessary. And so uh, I wanted to ask, what systems or tools have helped your organization run more effectively?
Yeah, this is great. I mean, it is exhausting. You have to do everything. I mean, entrepreneurship is exhausting, but you do it for the love of it and for the passion and for your commitment to the mission. I've learned one thing, and that is that yes, tools and technologies just come and go, and they will evolve, and they will hopefully improve and keep improving. But the value of human oversight is supreme, and we need to be able to train our teams and train ourselves on these different tools and technologies that are out there. So whether it's a project management software, whether it's a Slack tool, whether it's an AI tool, whether it's Copilot Studio, where you're trying to create the subject matter expertise or little agents to help make tasks easier for some of your volunteers or some of your interns. Knowing when to use what is important, and knowing that the right human is at the helm of the tasks that you've delegated is super important. I have an arrangement with several institutions that support us, academic institutions that support us in terms of, they like their some of their graduates to get experience in data analytics, insights, business administration, and so on, and marketing through Generation1.ca. It gets them their placement hours, and it also prepares them, and we also connect them to employers that are career fairs after that. So it ends up being a win-win for them. And in terms of tools, other tools, I mean, beyond the regular tools that are used for marketing, and I'd say um, the latest two tools. I mean, there's Perplexity, there's Claude, there's ChatGPT, there's Copilot Studio. I found Copilot Studio interesting, and especially when you can create. But even Perplexity, you can create agents. It depends on what you're doing. So I'm not really endorsing one tool or platform over another. It's just that knowing when to use what is important. But more important than that, it's having the right human being that's overseeing what's being created, because it can spit out junk like
Hmm.
like
Yes.
10 pages of whatever. So that's one thing. And another thing about this that you mentioned is that one more thing I was going to say about this, about tools and technologies.
Yeah.
I,
I
I I
mean,
think I think it's about documenting. Documenting it is
mhm.
is is important, so that people know that what is done and what should not be done. For example, if you're telling someone that they can use tools, and you tell them, okay, you can use these tools, but remember, don't input sensitive information, don't input, that kind of training needs to be provided to any new, even though they may know it, it's just a reminder. You need to tell them, remind people. So, but otherwise, I mean, regular Mailchimp, newsletter tools, marketing tools, and I think for nonprofits, marketing is particularly important and useful, because that's how people know about you. And then, of course, word of mouth.
Absolutely. Hmm. Right. Right. No, that's wonderful. And no, I think to your point, AI is a fantastic tool, and it's really changing the way that really any organization operates. But the human element will remain very important. The right person in the right seat,
And see that
etc.
also, that it's right now just doing lower order tasks. So yes, it's automating and enabling, and that does save a lot of time to organize things. But
Hmm.
it's there's still things like moral dilemmas, or and yeah. So I mean, thought partners, yes, you can use it to some extent, but you still there are still limitations. So being careful about how it's being used, and being innovative, but yet being knowing the guardrails are important.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. We've talked about, a lot of the great work your organization has done. What's on the horizon for your organization, and, what keeps you hopeful about that for your cause?
Yeah, thank you. So we've disseminated over $50,000 in scholarships, and that might not seem a lot, but we've having grown from zero to over 2,000 members by now, and that includes over 1,000 immigrant members, and then their allies and their supporters, supporting organizations, and having delivered up to 8,000, and probably even more, 8,000 hours a year. And this is only so many hours in a year, but being able to still deliver on those hours, whether it's mentorship, recognition, upskilling, training to these members, have really uh, um, been indicators of how of have been really been the reason for why all the change and all the good action is happening. In terms of the future, to continue doing this, and going to continue growing our roster of partners, because we just want people to know that they're serving a group of society, but they're serving themselves, and it's in their well-being and their best interests to leverage top talent, and to leverage skills, and diverse skills, and diverse perspectives, and a healthy society creates a happy society. And we want stronger businesses, stronger organizations, we want more innovation, and that comes from this group that must be leveraged. Just as every right now, it's at a point where this talent pool, the immigrant talent pool, is underutilized, but at some point more needs to be done. And there are a lot of great organizations doing work, and we've also grown a lot, and we've also been able to achieve a lot. But we're releasing a future ready innovators credential early next year, and that's what I'm excited and hopeful about. It's aimed at fast tracking new immigrants into the workforce through connections, visibility, and a few activities. We already do a lot of these, but wanted to package this into a credential that is very geared to each immigrant journey, and offer them unique experiences that they can flaunt, and they can grow the community, and they can also grow their networks, because that's extremely important. Good ideas and good networks are
Mhm.
what will help them succeed.
Excellent. That's wonderful and very exciting to hear. Now, I really wanted to thank you for your time today, and your insights. This is all very valuable to us and our subscribers. Just one more question for you: if you had a megaphone to speak to, every nonprofit or public benefit corporation, any leader of an organization with a mission, what might you say to them?
I'd say, don't be afraid of being creative and partnering with people that you didn't expect to. I mean, don't stereotype organizations. There are organizations and individuals you may not know, and may not consider working with, but the pandemic was proof that a lot of collaboration, that when put in different circumstances, or in in trying circumstances, the strangest and oddest of collaborations succeed. And that's why I'd say just continue being. There is a myth that nonprofits, they have, there's a lot of red tape, there's a lot of slowness. It means misery. That means there's no funds, and part of that can be true because it is hard to be a nonprofit. Want leaders to look at the bright side and see how they not just stick within that sector, but partner with other sectors and leverage some benefits from there and provide some value to them, because this partnership and strategic collaboration is going to lift you and your members and constituents out of misery, or out of whatever, lift you to greater heights. And that's what we want. We want a higher society. So it's this thing of not sticking within your, yes, you have a mandate, and yes, you have you parameters, but you should not be afraid of collaborating with outside organizations and see value in new and unique opportunities together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And to find more information about your organization, folks can visit, is it generation1.ca? Is that
Yes,
right?
yes.
Excellent.
www.generation1.ca.
The name is the domain. Well, thank you so much, Arundati. This has been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you again for providing your insights and your background. We admire the work you're doing, and best of luck to you in your future endeavors.